Percentage-wise, how much is bank and how much is non-bank, would you say?
Probably maybe like 1%. Bank.
Really? That low?
Yeah.
That's
It's
a lot
very,
worse than I
very small.
thought.
Single digit number a year, I'd say, bank.
How you came to found BizBritain, what were you doing before BizBritain, and what motivated you?
Sure. Firstly, thanks for having me, Ollie. Great to be on the podcast. So yeah, my background. So from a young age, I was kind of very keen on starting a business. I had a dad who ran a business. I had an uncle who ran a business, and it was always something that I kind of wanted to do. And kind of, I had a little dabble in the kind of world of business when I was a teenager. I actually founded a snowboarding website, which I kind of ran as a hobby for a while. But it was something that wasn't ever going to make me a great deal of money. So when I kind of left school and went into the world of work, I kind of had a kind of an idea in my head of a few of the kind of skills I wanted to learn that would kind of help me grow a proper business. And so one of those skills was kind of sales and marketing. Another one was finance. So between kind of my late teens and early 20s, I kind of dabbled around a lot and tried a few different jobs, and eventually settled on an accountancy job that I worked in for around about 3 or 4 years. So I kind of learned everything about kind of financing within businesses. And when I felt confident enough, I left and had a pop at starting my own organisation, essentially. Why business lending? Well, it wasn't something that I originally kind of went out with the intention of doing. It kind of came about as a result of various different coincidences. I actually started out running business events for people who wanted to start businesses, startups kind of in the London area, with a kind of specific angle on trying to work with people who hadn't been to university, who wanted to start a business. Because one of my motivations personally was that I didn't go to university and I wanted to kind of have a career, and I had aspirations, but I found certainly with the employment market, there were kind of a lot of glass ceilings, really, which kind of prevented you from a lot of places would close the door in your face if you didn't have a degree or a relevant degree or whatever. It doesn't matter how good you were.
It's also, even if you've got a degree, if you're not immediately out of university, you're also a bit stuck because they're looking immediately for graduates or something. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's exactly it, Ollie. So I kind of wanted to provide something that would help people in a similar boat to me. So in my mind, starting a business is kind of the great equalizer, isn't it? You can have someone who's got no qualifications, no experience, and they can build a business that kind of puts them on a par with whoever you can think of out there. I mean, think of all the big name entrepreneurs and business owners who, Richard Branson, whatever, doesn't have a degree. One of the most famous ones out there, billionaire. It doesn't really stop you in any way, shape, or form. So BizBritain, when it first started in 2012, was actually kind of an organisation that was designed to help young people who didn't have a degree start a business. Now, coincidentally, around about that time, the government were starting to push quite hard this idea of starting businesses. And they had a few initiatives that they launched around the time. There was something called Startup Britain, and there was something that later came along, kind of late 2012, early 2013, called the Startup Loan Scheme, which was originally effectively a scheme for 18 to 25-year-olds to borrow small amounts of money from the government, effectively, to start a business. And that actually coincidentally tied in very well with what I was doing, and through the networking events I was running, I had actually made some connections with people within that kind of sphere. And long story short, we ended up being one of the first delivery partners delivering that scheme to young people in the UK. And that was kind of our first step into the kind of ocean of commercial lending, really. And over the last kind of 12 years, we've kind of become a full service commercial finance broker, and we deal with lenders of all different types, ranging from big banks to alternative finance lenders to government schemes, all sorts now. So got a lot of war stories.
So when you set out BizBritain, you said you were helping people start, and specifically people who didn't have degrees, start companies. So was it not a broker at that point? You weren't connecting them with finance opportunities, or were you providing other support, or was it connecting them with startup finance?
Yeah, so when we first started out, it wasn't a broker. It was an online resource, so we had a website, and one of the kind of main activities I was doing was going around and interviewing famous entrepreneurs who didn't have degrees. So I had a kind of long list of people, and effectively creating content and resources that would help other young people kind of do the same thing. So that was kind of one of the things we were doing. We also had partnerships with a number of different organisations who could provide products or services for small businesses, where we would obtain discount codes and that kind of thing. So it was kind of just effectively a website to help people start businesses without a degree. And then after about 6 months of doing that, as I say, we got involved with the startup loans company. We bid for a contract. We got a contract, and that was how we became a finance broker. And that kind of opened up the door for lots of other stuff. We became FCA regulated, and started working with other lenders. It just kind of snowballed from there, really.
Brilliant. Such a fantastic idea as well, to support people. And your success has, recently especially, I've been watching BizBritain and the marketing that happens and going out with notices saying we've just crossed 100 million finance given out and all this sort of stuff. It seems like the last few years especially, you guys have grown exponentially and helped. How many businesses in total do you think that you've helped now through BizBritain, SMEs?
It's very much been kind of a hockey stick over the last kind of 2 or 3 years. Overall, in excess of 7,000 businesses. But we're talking about high volume of low value amounts. So it's not like where people are going out looking for investment and trying to raise £500,000 or £1 million. We're talking about someone who's left their job and wants to start up a consultancy. They need 10 grand to buy themselves some equipment and a laptop and some marketing and stuff like that. So the loans range, startup loans specifically we're talking about here, range from kind of 500 to 25,000 with an average amount of 12,000. The other brokerage we do outside of that, we're talking generally kind of mid 6 figures.
So is that the SME side of things? Because you're an SME broker as well as the startup.
Exactly. So we service through from pre-start through to around about the kind of, I'd say no larger than low seven figure turnover businesses, because we're kind of dealing with people that want to borrow in the kind of SME brokerage side. We're dealing with people who want to borrow 100k to kind of 500k.